Hey everyone. I did a video on this Poulan Countervibe 5200. That video ran a little long, so I cut the carburetor rebuild portion out of the video. I figured that would be better in a separate video. So this is a video of me rebuilding the carb on this saw, showing you how I do it. This will cover all HS series carbs, your home lights, your Poulans, your old Huskies, your 266s, and that kind of thing. They all run a variant of an HS carb. So I just figured I would take the rebuild portion out of that video and put it in a separate video so that it didn't run too long. This video covers this saw. I got this saw. It wasn't running. It's showing you what I do with a saw that won't run, basically. And the first thing I investigate is the carburetor, and 99% of the time that is the problem. So when you watch this footage, you see there's fines packed on top of the diaphragm. That'll make it do things. The diaphragm's hard. So this video covers all that kind of stuff. If you're not a saw nerd or a mechanic, this video might not be for you. But without further ado, here's a HS series Tillotson carb rebuild. Okay, I pulled the top cover off. That will make a saw run just rich. My last video or a couple videos ago, I can't remember which one, but I mentioned how you'll get fines packed on top of the diaphragm. Okay, there it is right there. It goes through. There's a vent hole, because if you didn't vent this, when that diaphragm's moving, it'll create a vacuum and it'll want to pull it back up. So another reason to clean your saws. Well, this diaphragm's not the worst I've seen. It still moves, but I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to pull the diaphragm off and you guys can see what's under there. We'll do this together. Just to show you, when I get an old saw, this is what I go through. I haven't even checked the piston yet. It goes chunka when you pull it over, so feels like it has good compression. Okay, here's the metering diaphragm. It's not in very good shape. It's kind of stiff. The gasket was stuck. Carb looks clean, and there was fresh fuel in here. Fella told me he had this running, or it said in the ad anyways, he had it running and then it dies. So I'm going to put a fresh kit in this saw. I'll put a fresh metering lever. Let's see if I can get you set up here so you can see it. Well, not the best shot. Don't have a camera mount. Okay, so one thing when you're rebuilding these carbs, pay attention to the height of the lever. This one is set up correctly for a Tillotson HS carb. Make sure it moves. These HS carbs, the bore tends to wear in these, I find. And I've been told this by a guy that's built way more saws than me. He thinks the bore at the bottom of these wears, and they actually get stuck. And that's why you'll get 266s and that with a Tillotson HS. They're hard to start. This one moves freely. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to rebuild this top side and I'll flip it over. Okay, let's try this again. I'm just going to go grab some carb cleaner. Okay, I'm going to hit this with some carb cleaner. There you go. Let that dry. Brand new Tillotson kit. If you haven't done this before, compare your pieces. Make sure that they're the same. Old metering lever, new one. Okay, those are the same. Diaphragm. Right there. Just want to make sure that the holes are going to line up. There's the old one, there's the new one. So yeah, we're in business. 99% of saws that don't start, that's your culprit. See how this one's all bulged? This one's flat. So I didn't even try to start this saw. I literally just got home. I'm going to use the same spring. The spring from the new kit is not the same as the old one, so everything else seems to line up though. So I tend to use the factory spring But again, whatever works for you, you can mix and match. So here's how I do this. Don't mind my finger. I am a sheet metal worker, so I like to cut myself, you know, at least once a week. Okay, I don't take the screw all the way out. I don't know if you caught that on film. Okay, see how I did that? I'll dump it back out again. I don't take the screw all the way out. Okay. I find it easier. I don't know if you got smaller hands than me, you might be able to just assemble it. But that's how I do it. And then you got this piece here. I've had people ask me about this, so I'm going to show it on video. And then I can just send them a link when they ask me. Okay, put that down on there. Hold it with your thumb. Slide that underneath the spring. See how it's underneath the spring? Or underneath the screw rather. And then cinch this down. You don't have to reef on it, just make sure it's snug. Okay, and now check the height. This one is a little bit lower than I like. So I hold it down with this thumb, and I bend it up just a smidge. There you go. You can see it's just slightly proud of the bottom. I've said this before, if you have a saw that loads up at idle, even if it's tuned properly, your load jet's tuned, if you have a saw that loads up at idle with an HS carb, no matter what you do, that's your problem. Your metering lever is too high. It's letting too much fuel in. So, okay, there's the old one, the new one. So it goes gasket first. Sorry, put it the right way. Gasket first. Now these are a little different than most carbs. Okay, that little tab, that little tit there hooks underneath the metering or the metering lever. Okay, make sure it moves. There you go. That's all there is to building one side of a carb. Get our screws, and then I'll pause you. We'll flip you over, and we'll do the other side. Who knows? This saw may run. It may not, but a lot of folks sell me saws that need a carb kit. They think it's no good anymore. And I mean, I guess that's half the fun of being a mechanic, but I mean, if this can, if you have a mind that inquires to the point that you're on my channel, then you're not that person. But if you know, some people don't know how to build a carb, so if I can save a few people from getting rid of their old saw, or their old saw sitting on the shelf, which is more often than not the problem, they go and buy a new saw, a new plastic saw, and their old saw that needs a $5 carb kit is sitting there. Okay, there's the one side. I'm going to pause you. Okay, well, let's just do this live on film. Sorry if my hands are in the way. I'll try and hold you at an angle that you can see. Like I always say, I'm a way better mechanic than I am a cinematographer, so that's the fun of YouTube. I have a feeling that when I take this apart, the little metering tabs here are going to be bent up. Take your screwdriver under there. Oh, it's not even stuck. I don't know if this guy was into this saw. So if you look at this, these let fuel in. This one's pretty stiff and this one's curled up. So, and look, typical, this is full of crap. This lets fuel in right here. So look at that. I don't know if you can see that. See the crap on there? Okay, I'm just going to pause you. I'm going to spray this out and we'll rebuild this carb. I bet you this saw will run. Okay, I cleaned that out. Clean that out. You want to peel this off. See what's on the edge. Oh yeah, this thing's right full. There you go. Full of sawdust in here. Give this thing a little shot of air. This carb is actually in very nice shape. Okay, move this forward. So the same thing, line it up, line it up, make sure they're the same, and go from there. Now this one's different. This diaphragm goes right down on the carb body. Sorry, I'm trying to keep you in frame here. Okay. So what you do is you line it up until it looks like it's in the right place. Okay. Oh, there we go. So what these do is these flap open and close and let fuel into the carburetor. If they don't move, then the carb doesn't meter and you don't get fuel. And again, this is why a lot of saws don't run properly. Again, line up this bowl with this hole here. This is why a lot of saws don't run properly. Yeah, and this stuff is so simple, but unfortunately the world is going towards throwaway. I mean, it works for the people selling you the stuff, but if you ain't a rich person, which I certainly am not, it's nice to be able to fix things. So that's my rant of the day. Tin Man Saw's rant of the day. I try not to rant on my channel. I do enough ranting in real life. Okay, so that was a joke, by the way. I'm uber focused right now. So there's our carb. That's our rebuilt carb in a nutshell. This one is very, very clean, which makes me suspicious. When you're buying saws, look in the guy's garage, because that's usually where you're going. How does he keep his stuff? This guy had a couple of old Echoes on the bench that he looked like he was working on. So the fact that he was working on saws made me suspicious. What's wrong with this? Now again, the price of this saw was such that I don't really care, right? It was cheap. So I usually just throw the old carb parts in the kit, and I'll keep it for a little bit just to if I need another part out of this kit instead of opening a new kit, and then I know that this kit is from this saw. Okay, so there's your working carb. Choke shaft moves, or sorry, choke moves freely. Okay. Those of you that made it to the end, that is a complete HS carb build. This saw went from being a non-runner. The guy said it doesn't run. I get it started and it's boggy and that kind of thing. Hard to start. Well, there you go. You put a quick carb kit in it. It literally takes that long. That carb was particularly clean. Oh well, that's good. Some of them are dirty or worse than others. Usually you don't have to change Welsh plugs or any of that kind of stuff. So literally 35 minutes and I had this saw running from a non-runner. So this saw has other issues, but that just shows you that's what I do when I get a saw. Any saw that comes in my shop gets a carb kit usually. That's just the way I do it, and then you can roll that out. Anyhow, as always, thanks for watching. Take it easy.